They say, if you weren't good enough for her in her prime, don't save her in her decline. Wise words, my friends, wise words indeed. And it seems that men will have to take this advice to heart from now on. According to a recent study, a whopping 45% of working women aged 25 to 45 will find themselves unmarried, childless, and single by the year 2030. Quite the alarming prediction, don't you think? This isn't some tiny subset of the female population we're talking about here. It's a massive number that practically encompasses every other woman you know. By 2030, over half of marriageable-aged women, between 25 and 44, will still be single. Climbing up that steep hill, aren't we? And Morgan Stanley even commissioned a study so their investors could know where to invest their money for the next decade. Talk about confidence in these statistics, but what's the reason behind this paradigm shift, you ask? Well, according to the illustrious researchers at Morgan Stanley, it seems women aren't rushing into marriage anymore. But no, they've got so many other options to fill their lives with. Careers, grad school, globetrotting, building up their social circles, they are taking their sweet time to find that right guy. And let's not forget the declining urgency to have children. With a plethora of birth control options and some semi-reliable infertility treatments, the pressure to procreate within a specific time frame just doesn't hold the same sway anymore. And without that ticking biological clock, the urgency to marry for the sole purpose of starting a family dissipates into thin air. So, it seems that many women will remain single and unattached for the foreseeable future. Society might want us to believe we'll regret not having children when we're on our deathbeds, but a lot of women seem to think they can challenge that notion. I stumbled upon an article written by a nurse who had heartfelt conversations with her senior patients, discovering that their own families often view them as burdens. How uplifting, right? And guess what? These seniors shared the top 5 things they regret the most in life. Fascinating stuff, but men are not giving up. No, sir, they are waking up. They've realized it's far less expensive and remarkably hassle-free to keep women out of their lives in a permanent, legally enforceable way. They've learned that competing with the deadly combination of female nature and divorce court is a futile endeavor. Many have witnessed their own fathers ending up homeless, living in a sad refrigerator box, while their mothers walked away with the house, the land, and that lovely alimony. You see, even when a man manages to win over a woman and convince her to settle down, more often than not, she gets bored and decides to leave, taking half of his belongings and securing a permanent claim on his future earnings. So, what's the incentive for a man to enter this game? Even when you win, you lose. And here's the kicker. Men evolve in their desires as they grow and mature. Puberty hits, and their minds become consumed by one thing, and one thing only. Many times, they'll be heartbroken by marrying the wrong woman and losing everything they held dear at that time. But as they reach their 40s, and their hormonal tides shift, they gain clarity on what they truly want in relationships and their careers. And by the time they hit 50 and find success, peace of mind becomes their ultimate priority, far surpassing mere intimacy. If given the choice, men tend to be biased towards the youthful beauty and pleasant demeanor of younger women. It's just the way things are. There's also a decline in interpersonal quality exacerbating all our relationship problems. It's like people can't actually commit and stay together anymore. In Thailand, they've got one of the highest rates of cheating worldwide. So, naturally, I wouldn't advise anyone to get into relationships or promote international travel. I mean, why bother when your partner might just disappear from your life, am I right? And hey, let's not forget that not everyone in your country is like the woman you're trying to escape. But good luck running away from that. It's not just us, though. People all over the world are experiencing the same level of decadence. Both conservative and liberal countries alike are witnessing an increase in the number of single men and women. You would think with their emphasis on family and conservatism, their birth rates would be stable. But nope, more single folks than ever before. But let's talk about modern women, shall we? They are just so self-absorbed and naive that they are capable of blowing up families, ruining inheritances, and running off with the money. Because, you know, making bad choices is their specialty. It's like the Bible said, the desire for material prosperity is the root of all evil, and future generations of women will prove it by divorcing for the sole purpose of their own satisfaction. Who needs a stable family unit when women can prioritize themselves, right? And let's not forget, women and family members are the weakest links, always ready to be wolves in sheep's clothing. Meanwhile, the wealthy will keep on succeeding. It's just lovely how women's unwillingness to commit can hinder us regular folks from attaining elite status. Did you know that the number of single-person households increased from 4.9% in 1990 to a whopping 14.5% in 2010? And let's take a look at China, with over 200 million estimated unmarried adults in 2018, where more than a third of them live alone. The economy is just thriving thanks to the elderly living alone. It's all part of the grand plan, right? Industrialization, that's another gem. Young people are leaving the agricultural workforce, and rural areas are experiencing unprecedented urbanization. Everyone's flocking to those sprawling metropolitan cities. And let's talk about those older women, shall we? They've made their fair share of bad choices, or simply ended up successful and wealthy but missed out on starting families and raising kids. Poor things, it's going to be so tough for them to attract men, and even if they do, keeping the relationship intact will be a real challenge. Let's face it, most men wouldn't date older women if they could objectively evaluate them and realize they're getting a bad deal. It's all about shame, you see. Shame keeps men restrained and prevents them from thinking properly. What a shame indeed, and here's a heads up for the ladies. Once they hit their late 20s and 30s, they'll come face to face with the catastrophe of not being able to find the type of guys they want. Blame it on the feminist juice that tells them to focus on their careers instead of starting families. It's going to hurt, all right. Let's hope we can all weather that storm together as a group. After all, older women carry around so much baggage they haven't dealt with, like it's some sort of badge of honor. Who wouldn't want to be with them, right? Let me drop some truth bombs here. Middle-aged women are just not desirable or exciting to be with. They have these ridiculous expectations and fail to realize that men need that rush of adrenaline too. If all they bring to the table is worry, baggage, and problems, well, who needs that in a relationship, right? But wait, there's more. Men who don't care about shame and do as they please, they are the ones who are truly unmanageable for women. You see, men won't escape the humiliation society puts on them until they stop caring about what other women think. So, it's pretty much doom for those women who are way past their marriageable age and haven't had any children. But men are not to blame for that. The blame lies on feminism, or rather, the extreme forms of feminism that made women believe they could live their lives without men. Bravo, feminism, and that's a wrap for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you give that like button a massive high five, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you can be the first to know when my brand new video drops. Make sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until our paths cross again, cheers.